Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman T.J. Lang.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth quarter in Little Chute. Along with T.J. Lang, I'm Bill Scott. Good to have you along here. The Packers with a disappointing 20-17 loss to the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. Fourth time this season the Packers have gone down by a field goal. All four losses have been very close, difficult defeats. But I'll tell you one thing, T.J., yesterday's football game, win or lose, if any fan that watched that football game, you certainly may not like the outcome if you're a Packers fan, but it was pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be a fight. Obviously Atlanta at 9-2, they got one of the best records in the NFL and one of the most hostile environments I've played in up there at the Georgia Dome. But it was a great game. I thought we played hard. We just unfortunately we didn't make enough plays to win the game, but we still took a lot of positives out of the game with how we responded in the fourth quarter with that last drive on offense was it showed a lot of character from our guys, and so we didn't win the game, but we took some positives out there we're going to try to build on going into next week.
Packers kind of struggled with their tackling fundamentals yesterday, and I think some of that had to do with who they're trying to tackle. He was a load, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is. Michael Turner he's a thick running back. He's short, stocky, and he's got really thick legs. And the same with Snelling, their backup. So those are two stocky guys that are tough to bring down. And I think early on in the game we kind of had some trouble tackling as the game got on. I thought the guys did a better job, but obviously there was a couple third downs where we could have got off the field on defense, and unfortunately they broke a few tackles to keep drives going that ended up putting points on the board for them.
Yeah, Turner finished with 123 on 23 carries and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, 344, a touchdown plus 51 yards rushing. In that last drive, that game-time drive, really was as good as it comes. I mean, it was really an outstanding performance in that drive in particular, but really an outstanding game for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he did. He had a great game, and obviously the fumble kind of sticks out in his mind, on the goal line, but I thought he responded well, and especially that last drive. I mean, we're down, we need to score, and we go on an 18-play drive to go down there and score. And I mean, that last touchdown is one of the best plays you're going to see in football all year. That throw to Jordy. So, we responded great. Unfortunately, they got a big kick return to kind of put them into good field position, and they were able to kick a field goal as the game ended. But we did some special things that that we're not going to let go unnoticed. We're going to continue to build on those.
The running game certainly was something that was talked about a lot today. Even the head coach addressing several questions at his press conference. And one thing that the Packers obviously tried to do, and you don't see it as a fan necessarily, but going to the five wides, the quick dumps to the wide receivers and let them run after the catch, get the yards after the catch. That kind of supplements or takes the place of the running game to a certain extent.
Yeah, and that's something we kind of talked about today was, we got to be more complete on offense. Our passing game is doing outstanding so far. The last few games, we got to get the running game going so we have more options and more plays available to us. Yesterday, I think, with the exception of Aaron Run, I think we averaged below 3.0 yards a carry, which isn't very good. It's not very productive. So, I think everybody's on offense is going to have to do a better job. It starts with the blocking unit. Obviously Brandon back there running the ball, the receivers. Everybody's got to do a better job of blocking and creating holes for those guys because, they're there. We just got to make the plays that that present themselves. And you look at the film and there's plays that we could have made, but we just got to take a step and make them. We're leaving too many yards out on the field.
Aaron Rodgers quarterback sneaks. The first one was a called sneak, and the second one, or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around. The first one was
he checked into it?
Yeah, he has the flexibility where if he feels that he can sneak it in, he'll change it. But then the second one was called, the one that he fumbled on. But obviously we got to convert on those.
Yeah, ideally, and if it's, everybody can say if it's blocked right, but I mean, you got your load on this side of the ball, they've got their load on that side of the ball. We're all pushing against each other, and it becomes really I'm not even sure it becomes an assignment technique thing anymore. It's just who's brute on brute, who's going to push the pile a little further, and of course Aaron fumbled the football. But I think in a perfect world, you'd love to be able to say we've got a running back here that does this for a living, and sometimes the quarterback can do the element of surprise. He's the one that's got the football in his hands first, and if he can get if the line can get the penetration, or if he sees a seam where he can get through, all right, go for it. But ideally, I personally, I see too many of those quarterback sneaks for a guy who's your franchise player.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't really complain about the play calls. We just we hear the play and we go out there and we kind of say let's block it up. But those QB sneaks are tough because you got three guys right in the middle that are basically just diving, trying to take your knees out as an offensive lineman, and it's tough to get movement. So if you don't get movement on that initial pop, it's tough to put the ball in the end zone. And they stuffed us on two of them yesterday. So we're just gonna have to find ways to make that play to push them in the end zone. All
right, let's talk replay because the head coach is taking a lot of criticism by the fans today for not challenging a X amount of plays. When you're on the road, you don't get to see the video replay board like you do when you're at Lambeau Field, and kind of what goes around comes around. The Packers benefited from that a couple of times for home games, and now it works against them on the road. The other thing that you need is the communication from your coaches up in the booth, and the coordinators both said that there was not a replay available to them prior to the next snap of the football, and you just don't get a good enough look at it. I mean, you and I, or me and the fans, not you, but I guess the fans, when you're watching on TV, you don't really see until you see the replay when it's that close. And that pass to Gonzalez was pretty close. I don't know that too many people saw it right off the bat.
Yeah, I didn't even see it until last night when I got home and watched replay of the game. I was like, wow. I don't think anybody on our sidelines knew that the ball hit the ground. So that's something that I guess Atlanta kind of uses their advantage. At Lambeau, like you said, after every play, we show the replay, so we have an opportunity to look up there and challenge it if it's questionable. But we didn't even know till after the game yesterday that happened.
All right, so I guess all we can say is cut them some slack a little bit, huh?
Yeah, they did a good job with their replay managers. So.
All right, we'll come back and we'll welcome our guest to the program this evening, Jordy Nelson, and we're coming back with more from the fifth quarter in Little Chute after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman TJ Lang.
And we are back here at the fifth quarter in Little Chutes. And TJ Lang, and let's welcome our guest now in his third season out of Kansas State University, number 87, Jordy Nelson.
How you guys doing? It's good to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that's good. How's TJ been doing?
TJ's been doing just fine, right?
They say I'm the best host so far. So.
Oh, that's good. That's what they told me too.
Well, let's go back to the to that final drive because you were on the receiving end of the tying touchdown, the 10-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers with 56 seconds left. But obviously a big part of that entire drive, a 90-yard drive, and it was picture perfect. I mean, you couldn't draw it up any better.
Yeah, we were put in a tough situation. Obviously, we got that penalty after the kickoff that kind of set us back a little bit. So it's not something you want to look forward to have to go 90 yards to tie up a game, but we did it. I think it shows a lot what our offense is made of, what our team's made of. I mean, we bounced back from a bunch of tough situations. So moved the ball up and down the field, converted a couple fourth downs, and had a big play at the end.
It was your first touchdown catch of the year. Great way to get that thing out of the way, huh?
Yeah. I was a little nervous after we scored. I said I didn't want to go from the ultimate high to the ultimate low in 56 seconds. But fortunately that happened. But it was a big play. Obviously put us in a situation to hopefully get the overtime. Just didn't happen.
You tell me about how you're running around. They're rushing three, so that everybody's back. chances are you might have to, Aaron's going to scramble a little bit. Chances are you guys are going to have to break off your route and make things happen, which is exactly what you did. But you also got to be very careful to not, you're roaming around the end zone there to not hit that end line or hit that side. You don't want to step out of bounds because now you're ineligible.
Right. We knew going into the game when we got into the red zone it was going to be a very coverage game. They were going to rush maybe 4 at most, but mainly 3, and just drop a bunch of guys and make you execute and convert on your plays. So when it came down to it, I think going into that last play, I think pretty much everyone knew we were going to run our route and then get out and just pretty much play street ball, run wherever you could run and find an opening. So was able to do that, and I didn't know how close it was to the end line. Watching film today, I was closer than what I thought. But yeah, you just gotta kind of have that little bit of awareness, just to feel for the end zone and try to find a hole somewhere.
5 catches for 61 yards on the day, plus the touchdown. 34 in the season now for 362. That ties you with Donald Driver for 3rd place on the receiving list for the season. We look back at the Greg Jennings and the weeks that he's been having for the last 3 or 4 weeks and really been performing well. And there's been some talk about, maybe this group of receivers have been so close, that any given day anybody can go out there and have a huge game. And yet Jennings really came to the forefront for, let's say the last 3 weeks or so. And all we've heard in response to the fact that maybe the Packers do need a go-to guy and Jennings is it, all we've heard was, well, you know what, it's been his turn for the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but pretty soon something's going to turn and something's going to happen. You were exactly the proof of that yesterday. Even though Jennings had the same number of catches, at any time, it just coverage things happen, and now somebody else steps to the front.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the luck of the draw. I mean, I had the one big play down the sideline in the 3rd quarter, I think it was, on the kind of a slant and go type deal. But it's luck of the draw. I mean, based on coverage, reads, if Aaron has pressure, no pressure, if he has to get it out early, if he doesn't. I mean, that's the thing about being a receiver. You don't ever know when you're going to get the ball. You just have to run the route, and we know Aaron's going to do his job and find who's open. And if it's you, he'll get it to you, and you just got to make the most of your opportunity and make the play.
All right. Is 5 wides, is that set up to kind of replace part of the running game, at least yesterday?
I think yesterday it was all situational. I mean, I think we believe we have, going into every week, we believe we have a good matchup against their secondary. And even last week or yesterday or whatever, it just was more of it. And playing in a dome, playing on that turf there, I mean, it's fast track. It's what we want to do. And obviously it's up to the coaches. If they want to keep it in, I think it's going to stay in. I think there's going to be a package for it almost every week. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to have the normal, one tight end, 2 receivers set, 2 running backs, and run the ball as well. So because we have to keep that in the game plan for, I mean, you have to be able to run the ball as well. And we just need to pick that up.
Atlanta plays no huddle. Was this Mike McCarthy saying, hey, we can do this too, and we're going to throw it in, and you guys obviously used it a little bit yesterday?
We've been wondering when we're going to run it because we've worked on it for quite a while. And it's one of those things you really don't enjoy too much in practice because it's a lot of plays, a lot of running, not much rest in between. And it's like we do all this work, kind of like with a 2-minute drill. We do all this work, and don't ever get to use it. And I think Aaron did a good job with what he did. I mean, I believe he called most of the plays in the no huddle and was able to move us down the field. And it's tough on a defense. You put them out there and they got to stay there. They can't sub, and so you kind of have better limits to what they can do on defense. So it's good for our offense.
All right, TJ and I, we touched on instant replay just before the break, so let's have both of you chime in now. There seems to be so many problems with getting the call right, and yet the concept of getting the call right is really what you want. I mean, we all just want the right call made, right? So why is it so difficult to get it there? And what's this? Do you guys have a solution? What would you do if you're the commissioner? What would you do to rectify the problems?
I mean, you only have a certain number of refs on the field, and each ref has a responsibility of what they're looking at. They have multiple reads. If it's their first thought is I'm looking here, then if it's a run, I'm looking here. If it's a pass, I'm looking this way. So they got so many things going on in their mind that a play like that, I mean, I think it's tough to see. It's tough to get right, but I don't really have a solution for it. I think that pretty much in every sport, you're never going to get 100% of the calls right. But thankfully we have instant replay where most of the time you can get a vision to see what happened. But
But see, here's my issue with it is that you have to have a timeout to be able to throw a flag. So that means if you're out of timeouts and there's just a terrible play call that needs to be overturned, and you can't overturn it. I mean, there's problems there.
But I think you can even look at college where they supposedly review every play. And I'm a huge sports fan. I watch college football all Saturday. Even this last weekend, I forget what game it was, and weekends before, I was watching a Nebraska game a few weeks back. I think it was against Texas.
Mm-hmm.
The kid caught a ball on the sideline, had a foot in, went out of bounds. They called it incomplete. They never stopped the game to review it. And it was a huge point in the game. And they say they review every play. They showed one replay, and even the announcers and everything said, oh, that was a catch. And didn't stop it, didn't look at it. So, even in college where they supposedly review every play that is ran, they review it. They don't even get that right. So, I think it's just that human element we're going to have to deal with. And then you have the controversy of conclusive evidence. Even with Tony Gonzalez's catch on that fourth down, with TJ, I didn't know about it until I got home and watched ESPN. They're talking about it. Even there, an official has to come in and overrule his buddy. Saying,
right,
oh, that's definitely incomplete.
These guys are too close to it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that I think even if they did review it, I can very easily sit here and say I doubt they overturned that. For the fact, but it's a human element. You just got to deal with it as part of the game.
Yeah, I do wish that they would stop the home field advantage versus in other words, and I was told by several reporters, Green Bay reporters that made the trip to Atlanta, that in the booth they didn't see the replay prior to the next snap. That the whole system. We saw it at home watching here in Green Bay. We saw it at least twice. I'm pretty certain that we saw at least 2 replays before the next snap of the football. Yet you guys down in Atlanta are supposed to be, or the coaches are supposed to be getting the television feed, and yet they can't see an accurate replay. That business has to go. If that's the setup that is going to alert the head coach down on the field as to something that's gone wrong, then they have to be able to see it. If we're seeing it at home, they've got to see it up there.
Yeah, it's part of the game. You would think that everything would be the same. Maybe we need to leave a coach back home and just watch the TV version of it, and then they can phone call down or something. But then again, I think it all balances out as well. You can go back to our Minnesota game here. Corliss' catch in the back of the end zone, kind of suspect, and then Shenko's catch in the touchdown. 2 big plays there in a game, so you hate to say it, but it all kind of balances out at the end.
It really does. Good point. You win some and you lose some, and the Packers have won, as TJ and I said, the Packers have won some early on, and of course yesterday was one that didn't work out so well. We'll continue with our guest Jordy Nelson and TJ Lang. Our program brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Resort and Conference Center. We're back with more after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman TJ Lang.
And we're back here at the 5th quarter in Little Chute along with TJ Lang and Jordy Nelson, our guest on the program. Transportation provided by L&S Classic Limousine. Personal professional service for all occasions. Call 1-800-830-5933 for reservations. Lenny is here again tonight. And we appreciate Lenny getting our players to and from safely each and every Monday night. Except for Jordy.
You can't trust him with the little one.
Yeah. Jordy's got his young son here that turns 10 months in a couple of days.
On the 3rd, yes. He'll be 10 months.
And that's you and Emily's first, and how's that going for you?
It's great. He's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun, especially now at this age. He's changing so much, crawls all over the place, getting into everything. Emily went up and, there he goes. He's waving to everyone now. Went up to get him out of his crib this afternoon from his nap, and he'd pulled himself up standing on his feet there. So that's the second time he's done that. So it's going to get crazy here in a little bit.
Another month or so, you'll be walking on. You'll need to tie him down to keep him in one spot. So, not really, but you know what I mean.
Well, sometimes might have to.
All right, let's go back to Thanksgiving last week, and that usually means rookies purchasing turkeys and hams. But I heard from TJ that it didn't take place this year.
It's disappointing.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I think I think the victory Monday kind of, might have screwed up the schedule because I think they had it planned, but, we had Monday off, and really other than that, we didn't really have much time to do it. So it was definitely disappointing.
I remember last year, Jordy, who did we have on? We had
Brad Jones.
Yes.
He got stuck buying like 12 of them. He was so amazed, like, at least let me keep one for myself. But yeah, I realized that too when we went in for Thanksgiving, that they didn't even have the rookies go do that. Yeah. Although my class got out of it too, so I don't know. Maybe
did you really?
Yeah. Didn't know anything about it until the following year.
Wow. That was it used to be such a long-standing tradition that happened year after year, but
we can blame Matt Klein for that probably. We'll just go and put the blame on him.
Difference between the Vikings and Atlanta in terms of crowd. Really, the Packers took the Vikings fans out of it, and because Atlanta was able to stay so tight in the football game, both teams back and forth. Obviously, crowd noise is a little bit more of a problem. Are you looking at you when you were effective offensively, though, it didn't seem to be a problem. Is crowd noise, do we make more of it than what it really is?
It all depends. I mean, I think crowd noise is situational. I think a lot of the times. In a dome, it does make a difference, though, because it can get really loud. But it all depends. I mean, that stadium down there in Atlanta was not full. And there was a lot of Green Bay fans there, of course. But it wasn't packed every seat wasn't full, which makes a difference. But when you are moving the ball on offense and like going 90 yards or whatever, they get tired of yelling after a while, and they get more nervous, so they get kind of quiet. So that's what we like to do. That's one good thing about playing on the road is when you can quiet down a crowd like that.
TJ, as a tackle, I would imagine, offensive lineman, the further away from the ball, probably that's where you have a problem.
Yeah, it's tough for us on the O-line. I mean, communication-wise, if Aaron wants to check a play, it's tough to hear him sometimes, so we'll have to, use kind of hand signals or point some stuff out. You see us pointing a lot when we're playing away games, just so everybody's on the same page. But the biggest thing is probably the snap count. When you have a defensive end coming off the ball at the same time you do, you're at a disadvantage. At home, the snap count, so you can get a little bit of jump on the guy. But when you're getting off at the same time, you got to be a little bit quicker, and it almost messes with your timing a little bit. But the biggest part of that is just communication. And yesterday, I think they did a great job with it, especially in the no huddle. I mean, Aaron's out there calling the plays, and obviously the receivers can't really hear the play, so he's giving them hand signals. And I thought the communication yesterday was great. Everybody, kind of knew where we were going, and the protection was, outstanding again for the most part. So those guys did a great job handling the noise and making sure they were all on the same page.
Yeah, I really think that maybe one of the top 2-3 best games during regular season all season long so far. That game had the markings of two heavyweight fighters going toe-to-toe, and it went right down to the wire. I mean, it was, for a football fan, Jordy, that was as good as it gets yesterday. Unfortunately, the Packers lost the football game. Our fans obviously would have liked to see that happen, but just a great game.
It was, and some reason it seems like we come up on the end of these a lot, even last year. I mean, you think back to Pittsburgh, Arizona, stuff like that. But, I mean, it's a fun game to play when we knew going in every possession was going to matter. I mean, we need to stress that, the way they ran the ball, the way, I mean, they took care of the ball and everything. I mean, when you look at Atlanta, they're a team that they don't look flashy with anything. I mean, they got a good running back, good receiver, good quarterback, but they just don't hurt themselves. And we made a couple plays that hurt ourselves, and that's why they got the win and we didn't.
Yeah, thought the defense did a nice job of taking Roddy White out, but unfortunately you work so hard to put your best guys on him. Then they've got Gonzalez, then they've got the running back, and Matt Ryan just doesn't push the envelope. He doesn't make stupid decisions. So it was a great football game, two great football teams, two great quarterbacks, and quite frankly, I'd love to see these two teams hook up in the playoffs. That would be a fun one to see.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I would put a lot of money on it if we go back down to Atlanta in playoffs in order to get to the Super Bowl. I'd be fine with that because I like our chances.
Yeah, all right. Play a little quiz time, have a little fun here. This is all based on the holidays and Christmas. Have either one of you started your Christmas shopping yet?
No.
I think that's what the wife's doing now instead of coming to the show. So I don't Christmas shop. She does. So I won't ever start.
Even for, what do you do? Just tell her to go buy what she wants? And
oh, we don't do gifts.
Oh, okay.
We've cut out gifts. We've cut out gifts for our siblings and everything. So it's we've cut back on a lot of that. I know it's more of a hassle to us.
All right. How much shopping is done on the internet, percentage-wise?
100%. I hate going to the store, standing in line, and I mean, I think I bought my mom a purse last year, and I just looked ridiculous standing in this store looking at different purses. So everybody was staring at me like I didn't know what I was doing, and then I told them, I don't know what I'm looking. I don't know what I'm looking for. She's like, well, what kind do you want? I don't know. Whatever looks good, I guess. So I kind of cut that out. I do most of my stuff online.
That's a good point. We do more now that we're away from home. It's easier to just get it online and ship it home instead of ship it to your house.
Right. Okay. Christmas tree?
Not yet. I plan on it. Not at the moment, though.
Okay.
The house is fully decorated already.
Don't need the tree to cap it off, huh?
Yeah, it's done. It's up. She goes, guess what we're doing on Friday? I said, what? She goes, decorating. I'm like, come on.
Oh, so you do have the tree, or you don't?
No, it's all up.
Okay.
Tree's up, decorated, house is decorated.
Real or fake?
We do fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gonna when you go?
I think I'll probably go fake too.
Okay. Yeah. Will you simply stop at the Packer Pro Shop for some of your gifts, or little plug?
This is when a lot of items come through the locker room. Can you sign this football? Can you sign this helmet?
It's not a bad way to do it.
So we know some Christmas gifts are coming around. But.
All right. The present you'll never forget as a youngster.
I would say a little race car set, just because I saw it in my dad's closet the week before, and when I opened it, it was from Santa. So that's kind of when that whole
something
thing
a little fishy there, huh?
Yeah, it was a little fishy there, but that one kind of sticks out in my mind.
Man.
Oh, there's no kids.
Must not have anything because I forgot them all.
All right. If you could have something right now, what you say that I want most for Christmas? Neither one.
There's nothing.
I had to make.
This is the main reason why we cut out giving gifts.
That's not a
It's
bad.
more of a hassle than anything,
Yeah,
and you don't get in trouble for not spending enough or getting the wrong size or something like that. So
If you got to think for more than 30 seconds what you really want for Christmas, you really don't need it, right?
right,
Well,
exactly.
I gotta say the one kind of bummed out part about our schedule is that we don't really get to go see our family for the holidays. So that for me, I'm not married. I don't have a girlfriend or anything. So my family's all back in Detroit. And
So any single females listening to the show, TJ will be here next week in Little Chute. Bring your application.
No, but that's one thing. I always grew up. We always had a big family. We were always together. So that was a little bit of a change for me.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll come back. Our email portion of the segment, the Granite Peak Ski Area email segment's coming up. Justin Hull will step in. Coming back with more for this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman TJ Lang.
And we're back here at the fifth quarter in Little Chute. Before we get to our email segment, just want to wrap up a couple, any gift changes among position groups. Do you guys do that? Little white elephant thing, or?
Nope.
No.
All right. And how about the big Christmas, the company Green Bay Packer Christmas party? Is that one of these where you kind of lay low and leave early, or you kick it up?
Oh,
and
you
have a good
definitely
time?
go because they got good food.
Okay.
But you go, show your face, and then you leave with another. Some people stay late, some people come late, some people leave early. I mean, it's whatever. It's a good time though. See a lot of people, and it's kind of fun to see them away from the job.
Yeah, it's a good time. I went last year, and it's kind of tricky because they hand out like these drink tickets, and all the coaches are there. So you're like, is it a trap? I mean, am I gonna get yelled at tomorrow if I have a beer? What's going on?
All right, In the Huddle, heard on many of these great radio stations around the state. In Adams Friendship on WDKM, and Baraboo on WRPQ, and La Crosse on WFBZ, and in Sparta on WKLJ. Time now for the Granite Peak Ski Area email segment. After a great opening weekend, Granite Peak Ski Area will be closed this week for snowmaking and will reopen this Saturday for the season. Granite Peak Ski Area in Wausau, the tallest and largest ski area in Wisconsin, with 700 vertical feet and 74 runs. Granite Peak offers terrain for all levels of skiers. Discounted lift tickets and other information is available online at skigranitepeak.com. Let's head out to the audience. Justin Hull.
All right, we'll start with the first question for you, Jordy, from Christy in Kaukauna. Wants to know if Aaron Rodgers ever makes your hands hurt from the speed of his passes.
Hopefully he's not listening. Yes. But the key is to not let him know it, because he gets too much enjoyment out of it. And he'll do it in a jog through or walk through or whatever, and he'll try to throw it as hard as possible, then he'll wait for your reaction. So even though it hurts, you just catch it, throw it back, and walk back and shake your hand later, because the more he knows it hurts, the harder he's going to throw it next time.
All right, we'll get to our next question here. Kind of piggybacking on all the talk about instant replay, Diane would like to know, how much influence does a player have on whether or not the coach is going to throw the red flag out?
I think there's some, depending on who you are. Obviously, Aaron has a lot more than TJ or I. But it's kind of tough. If you do say something, you better be right, or else you might have absolutely no say the next time. But it all depends. If you're involved in the play, I think there's some, but it's obviously his final call.
Yeah, just for the record, too, Nick Collins yesterday on the field was the one player that was pretty convinced that it was a trap, and he was trying to make a little noise, but the coach wasn't buying it. So.
Yeah, well, I think, if you're going to do that, you got to be 100% right, because, if you're wrong, it's probably not going to be good. So I think if you're involved, like, if you're involved in the catch and they call it incomplete, and you might go to the coach and say, hey, I caught that, I know I caught it. And so you might have a little bit of influence, but when it comes down to it, it's the head coach's decision.
And in a game like that, timeouts were going to be critical. So it's one of those you don't want to burn a timeout. Absolutely. Like we were talking about earlier. So.
All right, we'll get to our next question. This one's coming from Randy. TJ, I believe you were on the field for the quarterback draw that was checked down. Was there any way that play might have went to you?
Well, we thought, we had a few different plays in that package all week, but we thought there was a chance that we were going to run it to the right, but he called a QB sneak. But, we don't have any pass plays or anything like that in, but unfortunately. But
everybody's waiting for the TJ Lang corner row in the end zone of the Lambeau Leap.
I'm just going to run a route one of these times and see if he throws it to me. So
just go.
Fake QB sneak will pop pass or something.
Well, we often talk about TJ, how many responsibilities he has now as a football player. He's an offensive lineman. He'll play tackle, he'll play guard, and he'll switch from left to right. And then he'll play defensive line and get in that way. So we're just wondering, maybe, does he have it in him? You see him every day. Does he have
to catch a ball?
Could he catch a ball?
Oh, I guarantee he can catch a ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Outstanding.
I'm not dropping that pass.
Now, doing the Lambeau Leap, I don't know about that.
No, they got...
He might look like Aaron and make it halfway up the side of the wall.
I've scouted it out. They got little chairs in the end zone, so I'll just move one of those and jump off there.
There you go.
I've scouted it out. I'll know what I'm doing.
Atta boy.
All right, we'll get to our next question coming from Scott in Boston. This late in the season, do you have 100% of the playbook you're working with, or do you guys add plays from a week-to-week basis?
There are definitely plays added week to week. They sit up there, draw stuff up, or see something another team's ran a week before or whatever, and maybe install it. But, 98% of our playbook's in. Every week we'll have a couple new ones for a deep shot play or something, just a little tweak here and there that they'll change.
It's usually at the Christmas party. The coaches are drawing it on the cocktail napkin. Well, TJ's over wondering whether he should have a beer or not.
What are all these X's and O's on the drink ticket?
The coaches have had 6 of them, and they're drawing plays up. So
we got some inquiring minds in the audience too, Jordy. What's your son's name?
My son's name is Royal Ray. Royal is a combination of our dad's names. Her dad's name's Royce, and my dad's name's Alan, so we put the two together. With the last name Nelson, we needed something different because there's too many Nelsons around here.
Do we got time for one more?
Yeah, we do.
All right, we'll go ahead and a little more serious with the question coming from Ryan and Kaukauna. With the 3-point losses building, a loss is a loss, but does it get a little bit more frustrating each time when it's that close?
Yeah, I think anytime you lose a game where you have a chance to win, I think it hurts a little deeper. And obviously that's been the case with all 4 of our losses this year. We've it seems like with yesterday, from going to one extreme to the next, from scoring a touchdown to having all the confidence in the world to, the kick return going out to 50, it messes with you a little bit. But those games are the toughest, the ones that, you feel like you should have won and you didn't come out on the winning side.
All right, that is our Granite Peak emails segment. We'll be back to announce our winner of a ski package valued at more than $400. Back with more in the huddle from the fifth quarter in Little Chute after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now, back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman TJ Lang.
And we are back here at the fifth quarter in Little Chute along with TJ Lang, Jordy Nelson, our guest on the program this evening. And we've got our final segment coming up. And let's go back out to the audience, Justin Hall, to announce our winner of the Granite Peak Ski Area email segment.
All right, we're going to go with Scott from Boston, who had the question about adding plays as the season goes on. I just want to bring something up, too. Jordy, you mentioned you guys will install plays that other team ran. It's kind of that you always hear it's a copycat league. That's really the case, right?
Yeah, I think the coaches try to be sneaky about it, but we watch film, and it's like, that looks very familiar to what we put in this week. So it is. Obviously, if you watch film and you see something work against the team you're getting ready to play, I mean, obviously, if it works, you might want to try it. So they have little tweaks to it or whatever, but the main concept, I mean, it's all over the place. We watch film all the time, and you see our routes all over the NFL, and obviously with the West Coast offense and all its variations, it's pretty much the same stuff.
Got a winner here?
Scott Mostyn. Yeah, we're going to go with Scott, who had that question.
All right. Congratulations, Scott. Winner of the ski package valued at more than $400. Well, the Packers take on the 49ers this week at Lambeau Field, the sandwiched home game in between 2 road games and then 2 more road games. And it'll be the throwback jersey day. And if you recall, you may have seen pictures in the newspaper. Jordy Nelson was one of the models for the new jerseys. Remember that, folks?
Start of my new career.
You were styling.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the new jerseys?
I think I'll look good, and I don't really think Jordy looked too great.
It will be interesting, the text messages we get afterwards of the people that hadn't seen them before or whatever. I think the throwback stuff's cool. I like seeing other teams wear them. Obviously, ours is extremely thrown back, but I think it'll be good. Hopefully it doesn't cause a problem. I'll be interested if they have any out at practice, just in case if they get all freaked out about something different. I mean, a brown helmet will be different, but
see, that'll be the weirdest thing, I think.
Yeah, brown helmet will be different. Blue socks, blue jersey.
Yeah, blue and yellow. I like it though. I'm with Jordy. I like all the throwback jerseys that NFL teams are going to, and kind of paying respect to the people who played before you. I like the idea, and I think it's been going good so far for the NFL.
All right, Monday Night Football, 49ers are actually playing tonight at Arizona. This is one where the networks would love to say, let's take a mulligan here and find a different
scheduling?
find a different game, but it didn't work out for them. And so the winner of this game, it was pointed out to me earlier, will go to 4-7, and they will be a game out of first place.
Yep.
In the NFC West.
One will be, if you get a wild card, one will be nice to go west.
It would.
Playing a 500 team.
In most cases, I mean, this is kind of an example of the time where you wish that the best 6 teams would just get in the playoffs with the best record instead of everybody having a division winner guaranteed because of a situation like this. It doesn't work out like this very often. Sometimes you got to have a gimme, I guess, in there, but there's a good football team that's going to be left out of the playoffs because a bad football team or a very average team is in.
Yeah, like we were talking about off air, there's with the way the playoffs are set up, there might be a 9, 10, 11 win team that's sitting at home once the playoffs start, and it's a shame, but that's just how it's set up, and it's been a tough conference this year, the NFC. There's a lot of teams that are winning. And we got 5 games left, so it's going to come down to the last 5 games to see who gets those 6 slots.
All right, the Chicago Bears were supposed to lose yesterday to Philadelphia, right? I mean, everybody said that the Bears have 4. They could lose 4 in a row, starting with Philadelphia. Didn't happen. Are they surprising you? They're surprising me. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, they are. I mean, the way they're winning games, I mean, it's almost like a sense that they're kind of getting lucky, but you know they're winning. They're finding ways to win games, and you know we're just going to have to try to keep stride with them because you know right now they're a game ahead of us, but obviously. You know, their season's kind of been the opposite of ours. You know, we've lost some games that we feel like we could have won all of them, and they've won some games that, you know, they probably shouldn't have. So, but, you know, when it comes down to it, they're top of the division, and they still got a tough schedule ahead of them, just like we do. You know, we still have to play the Patriots, and they still have the Patriots and the Jets, and, you know, the Vikings, which is a rivalry game for them. So, you know, we're just going to have to keep pace with them these last 5 weeks.
Patriots and the Jets, both of them go to Chicago. That's the one break they do get from that difficult schedule. You guys will have to go to New England. Very difficult place to play. December and beyond. This is the time that Mike McCarthy talks about. Does he remind you guys about it as often as he reminds us about it? Because it's quite a bit.
Yeah. He mentioned it today.
Yeah.
Yep.
December football.
That was one of the first things he said in our team meeting. You know, we kind of recapped the game from yesterday and said, you know, it's December football. It's when you really got to crack down and start playing good football. And you know, it's a final stretch we got to prove what we have. So, you know, it's going to be a big month for us.
Well, the other 2 December home games against the Giants and the Bears, pair of cold weather teams. So, you know, technically, I mean, you like to have December cold. You like to have that cold weather advantage, but you're playing 2 teams down the stretch that kind of have that same weather too. So, you know, we'll see how that works out. The 49ers are the one warm weather team, so to speak, that, you know, it'll be cold this Sunday. And
I know. I wish we would have had a home game this weekend. Wasn't it nice up here this weekend?
Yeah.
Or, you know, decent?
Michael, you know what? You guys have already got a couple of coaches fired. Mike Singletary, there's some rumors flying around.
Oh, wow. I would start feeling bad after a while.
Jordy, thanks for coming out, and nice to meet your son.
No problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Jordy Nelson, good luck to you the rest of the way. TJ, have fun. Good luck this week. We'll see you next Monday.
Right, see you next.
TJ Lang and Jordy Nelson. For Justin Hull, I'm Bill Scott. We'll see you next time right here on the Woodward Radio Network.